Let's go!
To Idaho's hidden gems.
You know, don't come if you don't want to be hooked.
In the summertime, Idaho's back roads come alive with adventure.
Like, this is legit cool.
From summits to sand dunes to Sturgeon.
It's time for Idaho Back Road.
Steve Dent shows you a side of Idaho you've never seen before. This is an Idaho News 6 special presentation. Idaho Back Roads, Summer Edition.
Welcome to Idaho News 6. I'm your Idaho Backroads neighborhood reporter, Steve Dent, and for years, I've been taking you on some of my favorite adventures. From rough whitewater in Idaho's raging rivers to a Harmonica Festival in what some would call the middle of nowhere. And tonight, I'm showing you the best of what the Gem State has to offer in the spring and summer. Let's start in Valley County at the crash site of a B23 bomber near Loon Lake. In the winter of 1943, this Douglas B-23 Dragon Bomber and its crew of 8 hit an Idaho snowstorm while flying through the mountains. They were running low on fuel, so they attempted an emergency landing at Loon Lake.
Whoa.
But crashed, searing off the wings and smashing the nose.
In honor of the men of the 34th Bomb Squadron.
However, the only injuries were a broken leg and a severely cut hand. Only 38 B-23s were ever built, as newer bombers quickly replaced this World War II plane. But this piece of history has sat next to Loon Lake for 82 years because of the location of this crash.
You ready? Let's go!
Getting to the crash site takes some work. We start our journey at the Loon Lake Trailhead, which provides a place to park for free, and there's also a Forest Service campground nearby. People have two options to get to Loon Lake, which makes this an enjoyable loop.
And apparently we're on the Idaho Centennial Trail.
I hiked up the Loon Lake Trail. It was 4.5 miles.
It's roaring pretty good.
With some elevation gain, but no sustained grunts. The other option includes the Sesesh River Trail at 6.5 miles. And both of these trails were well maintained, and they meet up right before this meadow, which leads to Loon Lake. The crash site sits on the opposite side of the lake. I opted to head around on the western side, where I changed clothes, put on some water shoes, and almost immediately came to a water crossing.
Oh, good, geez. Yeah, buddy.
From there, it took some bushwhacking, route finding, and slogging through a marsh to get to the crash. It ended up being around a 13-mile day, which makes the survival story of the airmen so incredible. 3 members trudged through the snow for 35 to 45 miles for 15 days to reach the Lake Fork Guard Station to call for help. Meanwhile, the remaining crew members were spotted by another pilot who made a precarious landing at Loon Lake to rescue those 5 airmen at the crash site. McCall closed down schools and stores to greet the crew, who all survived, and I guess that's why they call them the greatest generation, because I thought it was a long day in perfect weather. If you want to check out the B-23 Dragon, please be respectful at the crash site and practice leave no trace principles.
Checking out some wildflowers
In the Payette National Forest. Loon Lake would be an ideal place to go backpacking, and mid-August is the perfect time as conditions have dried out. And speaking of drying out, the Bruno Sand Dunes features the tallest single structure of sand in North America. But as I found out, skiers don't have to wait until fall to earn their turns. Cameron Cox shreds down the nearly 500-foot mountain of sand at Bruno. It's definitely a unique way to extend ski season.
It's a half hour up, 1 minute down. And so, yeah, you get going pretty fast. My buddy had his Strava on when I went with him last time. It read 25, 30 miles per hour, so you can get flying down that sand. But even if you crash, as you saw, it's pretty forgiving. You can crash and it's not going to hurt you. I just have sand in every, part of my face, but other than that, it worked out pretty well.
Cameron uses Summit ski boards on the dunes, a shorter ski because they float really well without sacrificing maneuverability. He rubs wax on before every run because the sand takes it off, and he also uses old gear, including boots, because the sand gets everywhere.
This is worth it to me. It's such a unique flow.
It also takes a lot of effort to climb up the largest mountain at Bruno Dunes State Park, but that's also part of the fun for Cameron.
It's a beautiful place for me. I love it, and you know, there's something very fulfilling about being here early in the morning when the sun's coming up and you're on the dunes and you get this beautiful view of the entire valley.
I have to say it looked pretty fun. Cameron went way faster than I've seen people go on the sandboards the state park has available to rent. Woo-hoo-hoo! And his advice for people is to try different activities, because you never know what you might end up enjoying, like this gem that's only about an hour drive from the Boise airport.
I lost my hat. I think it's a great thing to try something new, to get out there and go do the weird thing. This all was a matter of curiosity for me to try this out and see what it would be like on the dunes, and I'm so glad I tried it. And sometimes it can lead to a pretty fulfilling pastime in your life if you just try something different and see where it goes.
A long drive can be worth the journey, even when you know you're heading into the middle of nowhere.
I looked at my GPS the first time I came here. I got lost, and I looked at my GPS, and it said 31 miles, 2.5 hours. I'm like, what? I didn't believe it, but it was true.
Every summer, thousands of people flock to Yellow Pine to enjoy the music at the Harmonica Festival. Dozens of bands play for free at all times of the day. This festival features many more attractions, and it's a huge deal for this mountain town.
This funds the town for the rest of the entire year.
If you're a music fan, be sure to keep it on your radar for next summer. The North Fork Championship will return in 2026. The NFC is an extreme kayaking race that brings the best paddlers in the world to take on Jacob's Ladder on the North Fork of the Payette River. The event got canceled in 2023 for a variety of reasons, including insurance, crowd and safety concerns, with an estimated 10,000 people in attendance at the last competition. You can expect to see the best of the best return to the area on June 9th next year. You can find our full coverage on the North Fork Championship on our website, idahonews6.com. Coming up next, we're heading to the summit of Idaho's tallest peak, Mount Bora, which also marked a major milestone for a visitor from Chicago.
I love the challenge of getting to the highest point of every state.
And still ahead, a popular connection for mountain bikers that also boasts the beauty of the Boise foothills.
Yeah, I really like it. It gives a lot extra options.
Mount Bora in the Lost River Range is the highest point in the entire state of Idaho. I camped out at the trailhead to get an early start with hopes of making it to the summit.
Let's go!
That optimism quickly faded as the hike to the summit is only 4 miles, but it climbs 5,400 feet of elevation, which starts immediately.
I love the challenge of getting to the highest point of every state.
Juan flew in from Chicago to try and summit Bora and make Idaho his 47th state where he reached the highest point.
Where it's different is that it's a lot more strenuous in one day, in my opinion. Even Rainier, you split up into 2 different days and it's less elevation gain.
I wanted to try this hike because of Chicken Out Ridge. I've been scrambling up rocks my entire life, and this is a Class 3 scramble, which means you actually have to climb in certain areas. That happens to be on a narrow ridge with a lot of exposure. It proved more difficult than I anticipated, and if you don't feel comfortable, I would advise turning around, especially because it's easier to climb up something than to climb back down. But Juan, a Kiwi named Rowan from Sun Valley, and myself worked as a team, and we made it.
That's outrage! Going up, I'm very thankful for you. You were very helpful in navigating us around the tricky areas.
I did not enjoy the final slog to the summit, and while it made me feel good to help Rowan and Juan over Chicken Out Ridge, without their support, I wouldn't have made it to the summit.
Feels good.
But I really wanted to see Juan's reaction when he made it to 12,667 feet.
Woo! Top of the world. Well, Idaho.
We made it to the summit and back down to the car in a little over 9 hours, and I don't think I've ever been more happy to make it back to the car. This stretch of the Snake River has huge rapids, but it doesn't run very often. Up next, we'll see how kayakers fare in the Milner Mile. The Kuru Connection in the Boise foothills offers another option for mountain bikers. I hopped on my bike to find out what makes this route so popular. Our journey starts with 5 Mile Gulch off Rocky Canyon. But sometimes you have to stop and smell the flowers, as these lilacs were fresh and fragrant. A few miles into Watchman, we come to the Kuru Connection.
We're trying to fill in some gaps and get a little bit more of a better east-west connection in places where it's kind of missing. So Kuru achieved that last fall, and that's been really popular.
Kuru Connection is a well-built trail along the hillside that helps riders traverse across the foothills at a higher elevation on BLM land.
Yeah, I really like it. It gives a lot extra options.
And that's the real magic of the Kuru Connection. As we saw, it helped me get from Rocky Canyon to this junction, and from here riders could head down Freestone Ridge. They could hook up with the Fat Tire Traverse and take it over to Holes Gulch. It's a trail that will help those die-hard riders get after it.
I started at Camelback, went up Sidewinder, I came over this Fat Tire Traverse, and then I did Kuru, the opposite direction.
Really cool. What's it like climbing that? Because I only rode down it.
It's actually really hard.
Some adventures are pretty rare. The Milner Mile is a Class 5 run east of Twin Falls that tests the skills of whitewater kayakers, but it doesn't have water very often. The last time the Milner Mile ran was in 2024. Before that was 2019. To release the water, Idaho Power needs 10,000 cubic feet per second in the Milner Dam, and that's beyond the needs of irrigation and aquifer recharge. But if there is water and kayakers make a request, the Milner Mile features some of the biggest water in Idaho.
The section's only 1.3 miles. It almost feels like you just kayaked all day when you get to the bottom. You're just so tired. Yeah! The water is moving so fast, and sometimes these super big waves, sometimes you just catch it perfectly and you go right over the top, and other times it just hits you right in the face and you feel like you just got slammed by a football player.
The Milner Mile is an experts-only run. Staying in your boat is the key to staying safe in this stretch of whitewater. Still to come, the crystal clear waters of a true desert oasis. At this serene destination, kayakers and paddleboarders take in the wildlife and the stunning scenery on this one-of-a-kind adventure. You don't have to travel all the way to the Caribbean to find paradise. This oasis is in the Magic Valley. I'll show you how to get to Blue Hart Springs and how to stay safe on your journey. The adventure starts south of Hagerman at Blue Hart Kayaking as kayakers, stand-up paddleboarders, and rafters head down the Snake River enjoying wildlife and nature as it takes less than an hour to arrive at Blue Hart Springs.
Yeah, the pelicans, they're really funny. I actually did see a deer on the way down. That was cool. It came up to drink from the river.
At Blue Hart Springs, people find crystal clear water that has been underground for around 100 years. And when it bubbles to the surface, no matter the time of year, it comes out a crisp 58 degrees.
Takes your breath away kind of cold.
The only way to get to Blue Hart Springs is by boat. But this oasis still gets a lot of visitation. We were there today and saw the Twin Falls County Sheriff's Office patrolling the area.
This is a pretty quiet day compared to a Friday afternoon or a weekend where we see anywhere between 75 and 100 vessels in here between motorized and non-motorized watercraft. The big things that we see in here are people putting out on the water without even having a life jacket with them.
Idaho state law requires every person on a vessel to have a life jacket, and children 14 and under need to be wearing them on the water. Operators need to have a whistle, and non-motorized vessels over 10 feet are required to have a non-invasive species sticker. Meanwhile, motorized boats are prohibited from running their motor inside the spring, and the sheriff's office warns people about alcohol use.
While it's not illegal to have alcohol on your boat, it is illegal to become intoxicated if you're operating. Whether you're on a kayak or a paddleboard or you're on a motorized vessel, if you're intoxicated, if you're over that 0.08 level, you could be potentially charged with an OUI. The fine for that is $500 if you're a state resident. It's $1,000 if you're an out-of-state resident.
That's a lot to take in. However, if you want to simplify this adventure, Blue Hart Kayaking will rent you all the equipment you need, and you can continue down to Ritter Island with their shuttle service. Or if you have everything yourself, it's just $5 to launch.
It was easy. Nice and easy, decent price.
In the Snake River, prehistoric monsters lurk beneath.
Oh, there he is! Oh.
I'll take you out on the water where I caught the legendary white sturgeon on one of the most magical fishing days of all time. The white sturgeon is the largest freshwater fish in North America. I went out to see if I could catch one of these prehistoric monsters in the Snake River with Hammett Valley Fishing Adventures.
It's rare. This is a rare fishing day.
We went out with Hammett Valley Fishing Adventures on CJ Strike Reservoir to try our luck at catching the mythical white sturgeon.
But this is the ultimate fish to catch right here.
Sturgeon can weigh up to 1,500 pounds. It's the largest freshwater fish in North America. And they can live for more than 100 years.
You got a 72-year-old man fighting an 80-year-old fish, and you're doing a good job of it, John.
And it takes a lot of energy to battle this prehistoric monster as anglers...
Oh, reel. He's on there. He just turned his head.
...have to pull them off the bottom where they feed.
Oh, geez.
Tiring. Very tiring. By the time you get it in, sometimes you don't make it all the way in. Somebody else has to take it over for you because you just run out of energy.
Please tell me you got that.
When the dams got created on the Snake River, the sturgeon in this section became landlocked. The numbers started dwindling, so in 1970, Idaho Fish and Game changed the regulations to catch and release only, and anglers also have to use a barbless hook.
So when you put your hand, there's no teeth or anything in that mouth. We're using circle hooks. We use barbless hooks, so the hook comes right out, so you slack the line, and then you get your photos of your fish, what you need to do, and then as soon as you turn that fish over, you better be out of the way because it could break your arm off. They're strong fish when they go.
Tim Parrish started Hammett Valley Fishing Adventures after 30 years of working as a pipe fitter.
Oh, there he is! Oh.
His doctor told him he needed a change, so he started this small business with his brother-in-law and another friend.
I love the sport of fishing. I love being out on the water every day. This is not a job.
And on this day, our guides had to start taking rods out of the water because we caught around 10 sturgeon, leaving us all a little tired, amazed, and in awe.
Talk about feeling the barn.
Of this powerful fish on one of the most magical fishing days of all time.
It is awesome. It's amazing. If you ever catch one, you're in trouble. You know, don't come if you don't want to be hooked, because you will be when you come out here with Tim and catch one of these 6, 7, 8, 9 footers. It's just unreal.
For any adventure, keep safety in mind, always wear the appropriate gear, and inform others of your plans, including your expected return time. Check weather forecasts and be ready to alter your route if conditions worsen. Lastly, be prepared for the summer heat and drink water! There's so much more the Gem State has to offer. If you have an Idaho backroads adventure you'd like to see me conquer, send me an email. Your favorite spot could be our next feature. Come along as we explore the Idaho backroads and beyond. You can catch our show every Thursday at 6 and 10. I'm your Idaho Backroads neighborhood reporter, Steve Dent, for Idaho News 6.